Good morning, Canadian Yarn Horde. My name's Alyssa, and today we're going to make some slippers. But I do want to put a warning out there that slippers can be very slippery on the new yarn and modern yarns. I used to make them for my brother. He used to wear them all the time, never slipped, never had a problem. Modern slippers do have that problem. Modern yarn, I think they've added something to coat it or whatever, makes it slippery. I don't recommend making slippers. However, I do like to make slippers. If you have an idea to make them non-slippery, I would love to hear it. I have tried Dip-A-Tool, I have tried hot glue, I have tried taping things on, just something to make them so they're not slippery, but something to keep your feet warm would be wonderful. Any ideas would be gladly appreciated. So there's also another tip I'm going to do today. Normally I would just use a yarn that's thick enough, but I'm going to use this tip where the actual yarn isn't the problem. I do like this feel of this yarn, so I think for slippers that will make really nice, but it's too thin. And the way you solve that, just going to take the label off, and now we're going to work with 3 strands, which should give me around the same gauge that yarn will be. May not be completely accurate, but it should be pretty close. And you're just going to hold the 3, and you're going to use the 3 yarns to actually cast on. I think I want to change that one so it's not. So there we go, back to the 3. So you're going to make your slip knot. Actually, I want to leave a bit of a tail because you are going to need to sew the back up. So that's probably too much, but I do that all the time. So we're just going to tie up the tail. I like to tie them up to keep them out of the way. Fold it around my finger, pull it over, and like that. I will switch to my overhead cam so you can see that better in just a second. And this lovely boy behind me is my son's cat, Charming. If you can't see, he's right there. He is my son's pain in the butt that likes to start the fight with the cat in my room. But he's behaving, so all is good. But I'm going to change over to the overhead cam now. All right, so now that we're ready to go, I'm just going to sit back down. So this is an Omni Furls hook. It isn't the furls. It is an Omni, oh, it doesn't say on it. It's an 8mm or an L, because I'm using, and I don't know if you can read this. It says 8mm there for a needle. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wrap, push it through, and pull tight. So now for this, you're going to do 39 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And you do this all the way up to 39. I will be back when I have 39 stitches. So now I have 39 stitches. And what we're going to do is we're going to knit all the way across. So you're going to knit this row. So there we go. And I will link all my the products I use in the description below. I do hope to earn your Lifekin subscription today. And I will gladly take any comments, especially about ideas for how to make slippers less slippery. I do know of one method that will work. It is attaching a flip-flop bottom. I will do that in a later video. I know that is an effective method. It's basically like wearing a shoe then. I have a Halloween costume I made a few years ago of the Cheshire Cat. And in that, I made boots out of crochet, and that's how I did it. I crocheted around the heel and made a nice set of boots that went with the costume, the coat, and that. So it will be something I will show later on, but I would love any ideas to make it so that yarn doesn't slide on hardwood floors. If you have a full carpet house, probably not a problem. Just be very, very careful when you do hit linoleum or vinyl or wood or stone. It can be slippery. It's why I adore slippers. I wish I could make more of them, but I find them very impractical. If you can't wear them because you slip all over the place, then what's the point of wasting the yarn on it? But I have so many ideas I would love to make. So now what you're going to do is you're going to purl for 15 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Now, if you didn't notice there, one of those stitches, I did miss one of the yarns. So there's one thing you will have to be very careful of when you're doing multiple yarns. But as you can see, it's a nice thick base now. Now you're going to knit, I'm pretty sure. So you're going to put your yarn over and knit. It's 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now, I'm going to count. This should be 15, 2, 6, 10, 12, 14, 15. So you're just going to purl the last 15 stitches. Now, you are going to continue this pattern. That's pretty much your pattern for 18 ridge rows. And I will show you what I mean by that. And what you want to do is make sure it's 18 on both sides. It will be very easy to count. I will show it when I have that progress. Almost missed a strand there. And what you're going to do is you're going to count 18 of these ridges. So these ridges are the 18 you want to have. You want to have one on both sides. It will be easier to count on this side as it is on this side. And for this side, you will want to count the center ridges, not these ones, because then you will have to have 18 plus 18. Oh gosh, I suck at this. I'm pretty sure it's 36, but I am going to check with a calculator because I don't trust my math. So yes, it is 36. So you want to have 36 rows in total. And that's why we say 18 ridges, because on the front side, you will definitely see 18, but you definitely want to go onto the back side and do the same thing. It will be a little different. You will see when I get to the end, and I will show you when I get there. What I do want to state is what you're doing here on this side is called stocking stitch. So it'll look like that. So that's stocking stitch. And this is called garter stitch. So that would be your terminology, and the difference is very distinctive. You can see very quickly the difference. That's why you want 18 ridges on both sides, because you see that all the ridges will be on the back on this side, but on this side, there's ridges in the front and back. So that's why you want to do that, and that's the terminology for you. Yet again, I just want to state, if you have an idea for a sole, something that would give the sole a little bit of grip when walking on the hard floors, and you go 15 stitches here, and you will, I know the difference in texture, but you can always put a stitch marker there. Sorry, as I was saying, I would absolutely adore getting ideas. I'll try them out. Anything you can think of. I feel like I've tried thinking of everything, and it just, the Dippa tool, I don't know if it worked. I did it for my dad on his slippers, and he never did tell me. I know it didn't go on as nice as I was hoping it would, and what it is basically a product that you dip tools like pliers, the handles of pliers in. And what it'll do is it'll leave a rubber coating on them, and you dip it multiple times to build up the coating, and then you have a nice rubber handle. I've actually tried doing it with crochet hooks. I don't like the way they feel. I've tried getting cheaper hooks. I find it really does take, just buy something you like. And the hook can make a huge difference to whether the hook and the needles, and try different mediums, try different, a metal hook. You might like them. I don't, because I find them very, very noisy. They make, they have a certain sound when you're knitting with aluminum hooks that is just there. So that's the work so far. Not very far, but I will show you what it looks like when I come back at the end of this stage. Okay, as I was doing it, I noticed that it was getting a little long. I didn't want it too much longer, so I did 14. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So now your next row, back down. What you're going to do is you're going to cast off 5 stitches on each end of the needle. So 1, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now you're going to finish the row off, and you're going to do the same thing at the next end of the next set of the next row. Just going to keep going, same pattern. And this way you are going to actually go down. You're going to go all the way across the needle, just knitting because it's the first row. And as I said, you can see that's your sole. That's going to be your sole, and that's the sides of your slippers. And you are going to want to make a second one. Not that they take long. I think this has only taken me about half an hour to 45 minutes. So 2 hours, and you'll have a pair of slippers. As I said, be very careful. They can be slippery. I do know that I have thought of everything I could think of to do it. So now that we're at the end of this side, we're going to cast off and purl now. So 1 and 2, and then you want to go behind and pull over. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now what you're going to finish this row off. So you're going to purl to the end where you start the sole. I don't know how many it is. I think it's 9. Just do a peek. One more. And then knit 9. And you're going to purl the rest. In the next row, you are going to do something different. So now you're going to do what is called ribbing. And what you're going to do is you're going to knit 1 and then purl 1. And you are going to do that all the way across. And this is the toe section. And you're going to do this, I'm pretty sure it's for 2 inches. Just let me double check my work. Shame. Toe bind up. So 29 stitches, working at 1. Toe stitches per 1. So you're supposed to repeat it about 5 times. So I'm gonna say probably about 1 inch to 2 inches is probably what I would say, because I think that's, oops, I forgot to do the ribbing. So there's my ribbing. And like I said, you're going to do this for about 2 inches, which should be about 5-6 rows. And if you want to ever test that, it's very easy to do on this pattern because you've already got rows. So what you're going to do do it right at the end of this row. The next row, you just want to knit where you knit and purl where you purl, because I think you got to purl first. Being that it's uneven, it should be. I will know in just a second when I get to the end if it's knit or purl at the next row. It will be purl first because I'm finishing on a knit, so it will be purl first. So you just purl 1, knit 1 to the end. Now, so that's 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 rows is about that far. Now I want to take that. So yeah, you're about 2 inches for 5 rows. So that's a good guesstimation. So I'm going to do that. So I will show you first though how we start this row. Very simple, same as the last one, other than this one's purl. And like I said, you're going to do that for about 5-6 rows on about 2 inches, and I will show you what happens when we get there. Okay, so there we go. I ended up doing 6 rows to give me a good 2-inch edge. Now what you're going to do, you're going to take a long tail to cut it off. You're going to thread the darning needle. Going to go through each stitch on the needle. Each stitch, pulling them off, pulling it onto your thread. Just keep threading the needles onto the thread. Through. And You are going to tighten it as much as you can. What you want to do is you want to grab that last stitch right there, and you want to tighten it, tighten as much as you can. You can go through them again by all means. Just kind of send your needle in, trying to get it where you want it, as close as you want it. Just tighten, tighten to the toe. Just keep going around until you make it around a second time. It's a little harder the second time because you don't have them on the needles, but this way it tightens it so you don't have any issues. There we go. Make sure you have yours on there. Now you're going to grab your edges and you're just going to darn this edge up along the toe. Just going to keep going around, darning up this edge. And that's going to take you to the corner where you cast off those 5 stitches. And you want to go up because there's the cast off right there. The stitches are right there. So that was the cast off. And you're just going to go up this edge. And then you want to tie in your end and you want to tie it off. Double that over. Wrap it around the needle just to make sure there's a knot at the top. Come back down. Just weaving it through. Tighten off. And what you're going to want to do here is take off your end. Now this one, you're going to go all the way down to the sole, but at the sole you are going to change it just a little bit. Or if I really wanted to do, I could take that little bit left, because I probably will use it when I get there. And you just want to go into that stitch right there, tighten up, grabbing both sides, making sure you get it at the back, securing this back edge because it's the back edge of your slipper. Like I said, you just want to keep winding it through until you go to the bottom. Once you get to the bottom, or to the sole, then you're going to change just a little bit. I'm going to have to add on more yarn for a tail. That's okay. Sometimes you get the measurement right and sometimes you don't. See, I lost one of them there. I'm not too worried. I can mesh it in a minute. Now I'm going to stop right there. So I'm going to wind this one in, darn this one in, and so now they're all together, and you're going to want to center it and squeeze it, and then go through there. So you're kind of making a knot, if that makes sense, sort of. You're pulling the one edge that doesn't have, kind of tightening it up right there. So you've got 2 little squishy things, and you just sew those little squishy ends. As I've said, if you're ever at the end of your yarn and you just have a little bit left to go, Just always try and do that. Around, tighten up, pull through. So that should be that end. Now this is the end I cut off. And we're just going to tighten this side. And what you're going to do is leave a tail. About that much. Go this way, tightening up. And then you're going to go back through. And then you're just going to tie it off together. And there you go. You have one slipper made. So we're just going to tie this together. Two. And you can darn those in very easily. Just darn, darn, darn. Goes to thread that through first. That one. Through. And then do that with the third one, and I will show you what they look like when I get back. So there we go. There's the slipper. I might recommend doing 12 rows and 8 rows of toe, but other than that, there's your slipper. I hope to earn your like and subscription. I will show a picture. The thumbnail will be a picture of the two of them together. So you just, like I said, make a secondary one. You can put a pom-pom on it. You can run ribbon through it if you want. These are large enough that you can get a ribbon in there and then tighten them up. But there's the general slipper that I made, the very second project I ever did. As I said, I hope to earn your like and subscription. Leave a comment below and have a great day.